I want to discuss two examples that some people think are together a problem for the doctrine of double effect. The examples try to bring out the idea that if you have intentions that are weird enough, or tricky enough, or sneaky enough, then double effect will let you off the hook for almost anything. So remember, one especially important condition of the doctrine of double effect was that the evil effect, the bad thing that happens, is not intended either as an end or as a means. Now consider two examples. Let's call the first one modified terror bomber. Modified terror bomber, it's exactly like the first terror bomber case. Again, you got a pilot, she has this good overall goal, she wants to end the war, save a bunch of lives by doing so, but the way she's going to end the war is by dropping a bomb on a bunch of civilians. They're going to die. That's going to freak out the enemy. That will end the war. Lots of lives are saved. Imagine there's a slight change to the case. Imagine that now you're riding in the plane with her, and you tap her on the shoulder and you say, "You know, terror bomber, according to double effect, what you're doing is wrong because you're not satisfying condition 3. The evil effect is intended. You're intending the deaths of the civilians as a way of ending the war." And she gives you a puzzled look and she says, "What do you mean? I don't intend their deaths. I don't want them to die. All that I intend is that their bodies are impacted with the bomb in such a way that they appear dead. I just want them to look dead so that the people who observe it will be freaked out and the war will be over." If you told me that after the war their bodies would gel back together and they would be just fine, then I would still drop the bomb. If you were to tell me that they would be teleported to a safe, comfortable place until the war's over and they would be replaced with fake body parts and it still does the job and freaks out the enemy, then I would be happy with that. And then you say, "Yeah, but Terror Bomber, you know none of that's going to happen, right? You know that they're going to die. None of this other stuff is going to happen." And she says, "Yeah, I do know that. But that's no different than the tactical bomber. The tactical bomber, when she drops a bomb on the military facility, she knows that the other people aren't going to be moved to a safe place. She knows that the civilians are going to die. So just knowing that the civilians are going to die and knowing that this other situation isn't going to happen, that's not enough to put me back on the hook. Because the very same thing's true of the tactical bomber." And then now consider another example. We'll call it the modified large man example. Just like large man, again, you're about to push the person into the trolley, but then somebody taps you on the shoulder and says, "You know, according to double effect, it's wrong to push the large man into the trolley because you're intending his death as a means to save the 5. And then you say, "No, that's not quite right." Imagine you respond by saying, "Look, if you change whether he dies, I'm still going to push him into the trolley. If you tell me that after he's pushed, a giant marshmallow suit will appear on him, will be teleported on him, and that will protect him from the impact of the trolley, I'd still push him and save the 5. If you told me he was invulnerable to trolleys, I would still push him and save the 5. And after you say that, the person then says, "Yeah, but you know none of that's going to happen, right? He's going to die." And then what they say is, "Yeah, but the same thing's true about the person pushing the large man. The same thing's true about the person diverting the trolley onto the other track. You said that's okay, but you know that the person's not going to be removed from the track. They're stuck there. They're going to die just as sure as the large man's going to die when I push him into the trolley. So if that's enough to get the person who pulls the lever off the hook, that's enough to get me off the hook as well."